Hi, and welcome to our presentation. We will be talking about the digital divide in your classroom, and we'll be talking about the digital divide, what it is, what it implies, and how the digital divide applies to your classroom specifically, and what you can do to try and overcome the digital divide to give your students the best education that they can get.
So what exactly is the digital divide? It's a social issue referring to the differing amount of information between those who have access to the internet, especially broadband users, and those who do not have access. This is caused by a lack of access to computers especially, or to broadband access. So how big is the digital divide and why is it so big? So it's a really big divide, especially between those including education, income, and race. Who has access are mostly higher income households, which would be educated white and Asian Pacific Islander households. And the factors that affect the gap in the digital divide include education, in which households with higher levels of education are more likely to use computers and internet. And the factor of income plays a significant role in the widening digital divide, whereas poor neighborhoods lack the infrastructure and facilities that are available in affluent areas for broadband access. And race is definitely an issue in which the gap widens among households at lower socioeconomic levels, and especially affects the amount of computers in schools. One study found that schools with a higher percentage of minority students have fewer computers, and vice versa. Schools with lower numbers of minorities had more computers. And the digital divide is not only a US problem, it's a worldwide problem in which third world countries and developing countries have significantly less access to the internet than do North Americans, as well as most of Asia. So how is the divide being bridged or narrowed? How can we do this? Definitely with policymakers and communities first recognizing the importance of technology and the importance of broadband access, as well as some suggest that the government can subsidize broadband access for lower socioeconomic areas. We can also change the public attitude about technology and how important it is within our development as a community and as a nation. We can also provide more support for our community access centers, and support new community access centers, as well as training and preserving staff that are already qualified and well equipped in technology, especially in schools.
So, how does the digital divide apply to teaching, and how can we overcome that? Well, obviously, the digital divide is unfortunate that it occurs because everyone should have the same access to attain the best education that they can, and it's a great disparity across the whole United States, as you've seen from the previous slides, and uh, all the apps and websites and programs that we've learned about so far in this class, they're obviously great mediums for education. And some places they can't even access these programs and apps because of the digital divide. And how will the digital divide affect your classroom specifically? Well, you can't assume, and this means that while we're learning in this class to incorporate technology into our classroom, we have to realize and understand and remind ourselves that not every school that we go to or see or read about will have access to a smart board or tablets or these websites. Teachers need to be versatile in all their teaching methods that they think of and that they try to use in their classroom. How can we address these issues, though? How can we address the digital divide in our classroom? Well, while we're learning, like right now, while we're in college learning to be be teachers, we need to be adaptive. When we're looking at lesson plans and homework that we're going to be assigning, we need to think of it from a different perspective. Some questions that you might want to ask yourself while you're making this homework or these lesson plans is, would this research paper be able to be written if my students didn't have access to the internet? So this just means look at the prompt. Is the prompt general enough that if your students go to the try and only get their sources from a library, will they be able to do that? Or do you need to maybe reevaluate your prompt and try and make the research paper more accessible to your entire classroom. And another question that might be more applicable to math classrooms would be, did I teach the lesson well enough that any student who did not have access to the internet will understand the lesson and not need any help? So I know personally in high school and my college class, when I tried to do my math homework, if I didn't understand the lesson well enough, I would go to YouTube or other sites to get help with this. Well, obviously, as you guys have been learning, the digital divide inhibits some students from not getting this extra online help. The only help that they get with a math problem is whatever you teach in your classroom. So you need to be able to make sure that your lesson is overarching enough and specific enough that all your students will get all the information that they need in order to be successful in their future problems and tests.
And this is our reference page, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.